What happens when a line cook automates the entire head chef's job? When I graduated from culinary school, I landed my first real job as a line cook at a large hotel chain. On paper, it was a solid opportunity. Steady hours, union protection, and a kitchen crew that actually liked working together. The only odd part was our head chef. He barely touched a stove. He spent his days tucked inside his office, shuffling papers and bragging about how he handled the monsters behind the scenes. He took care of ordering, timesheets, schedules, menus, HR emails, and anything else that involved sitting at a desk. The kitchen itself ran without him. The real problem was the menu. It looked like something copied straight out of a decades-old cookbook. Bland dishes, outdated presentations, nothing that any modern guest would get excited about. The entire team kept pushing for change, and surprisingly, the head chef agreed to let us take over menu creation. It made our work better, but it also revealed something else. The chef seemed relieved to hand off anything that involved actual cooking. We also had an after-hours menu meant for late-night guests. Simple items like BLTs, pizza, salads, soup, fries, and burgers. Easy, fast, and exactly what tired travelers wanted. Then corporate decided to axe it and replace it with the full daytime menu. Suddenly at 2 a.m., people were expected to order sautéed salmon and white wine sauce. Unsurprisingly, almost no one did. Across every hotel, night shift revenue plummeted. Corporate, in their infinite wisdom, blamed the staff rather than the menu, and removed night shift line cooks entirely. Anyone left on that shift got reassigned or pushed out. This is how the trouble began for me. I'd worked there about 2 years when the head chef and I stopped seeing eye to eye. Whatever the reason, his solution was to put me on nearly every night shift. My hours were officially 40 a week, but I regularly clocked about 50, sometimes more. I didn't complain because overtime paid well, and at 21, that extra money made a big difference. The hard part wasn't the schedule, it was the boredom. The night shift had almost nothing to do. I cleaned the kitchen, checked the walk-ins, prepped parts of breakfast, restocked where I could, and handled small tasks. But after a few weeks, everything was spotless and organized. What used to take an hour now took maybe 15 minutes. So I started finding ways to pass the time. Reading, watching shows, talking with the night manager, experimenting with recipes, chatting with interns. I wasn't causing trouble, I just had no work left. One day the GM called me into his office. Someone had reported that I was slacking. I explained the situation, showed him the task list, and demonstrated how little was left to do after the changes corporate made. This kicked off a whole discussion between the GM, corporate, and my union about what responsibilities my position actually included. That's a long story for another time. At the end of everything, the head chef handed me all his paperwork and told me to get back to real work. He dumped timesheets, produce ordering, email communication, HR updates, everything he normally bragged about. I'm pretty sure he expected me to drown in it. But the moment I opened the systems, I realized the chef had no real understanding of the software he used. He'd been doing everything manually, slowly, and inefficiently. Within a month, I had streamlined almost all of it. Our time management system could sync directly with payroll. All I had to do was verify breaks, press a button, and send a request for approval. The ordering software allowed me to upload a full produce list, walk through the storage rooms with an iPad, and submit everything in minutes while doing the spoilage check at the same time. The scheduling sheet could be duplicated week to week, and with a few adjustments, I connected it to our HR app, which automatically flagged anyone on leave or vacation. In 2 night shifts, I could complete what the head chef spent an entire week struggling through. The rest of the nights were mine again, and the chef suddenly had nothing left to do in his office. Eventually, someone mentioned this to the GM. The chef, left without tasks, was sent back to the kitchen. They put him on breakfast shifts, and it became obvious he hadn't cooked in years. Techniques, timing, presentation, he was stuck decades in the past. Corporate then heard about the innovations and asked the chef to document them. It didn't take long before they began considering removing the head chef position entirely and shifting the workflow to the F&B manager. By the time I left the company, the head chef's role was on the chopping block, and the systems I set up were still being used.